Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text number 42. Okay, all right, fantastic. Shamaham, Damaham, Tapaham, Shaucham, Shantihi, Arjavam, Eva, Cha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhava, Jam, Shamo Damastapah Socham, Shantirarjavam cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam Samodhamah Sapashocham Shantirarjavam cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam Shamodhamah Tapasaucham Shantirarjavam cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. Please repeat. Shantirarjavam cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam Samodamastapasocham Shantirarjavam cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam Samodamastapasocham Karma Swabhavajam. Mataji, please. Damastapasocham Shantirarjavam cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. Shamaham, peacefulness. Damaham, self-control. Tapaha, austerity. Shaucham, purity. Shantihi, tolerance. Arjavam, honesty. Eva, certainly. Cha, and. Jnanam, knowledge. Vijnanam, wisdom. Astikyam, religiousness. Brahma, of a brahmana. Karma, duty. Swabhava, jam, born of his own nature. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tafpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swamaniti Namine Harijana Ganabadi Jnana Karmandahari Prakatita Para Bhaktir Bhakti Siddhanta Kantihi Vinay Nikara Lakshmir Nimna Medaira Gamyo Bhuvijayati Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindraha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmi Yasya Vakshise Yasyasya Hidaye Samvit Tam Risimham Aham Bhaje Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Devi Tata Guru Tasyaite Katita Hyata Prakashante Mahatmanaha Mukam Karti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripadamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So just reading the translation again. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So today is a very special day for all of us to see the Mercy crew getting initiated. We're very happy for this. And today's we all made it, almost. And also, this class is specifically meant for those who are receiving Braminical initiation. So it's a very specific class. It's not a regular Sunday feast class, but it's some interesting knowledge. I'm sure people would like to know a little bit more about the Braminical initiation and Prabhupada's standards for it and what's expected. So although there's no purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada has spoken a little bit about this in an initiation lecture, and this initiation lecture was by the famous Vishnu Jan Maharaj's initiation. So everyone, devotees know who Vishnu Jan Maharaj is? Yes? No? Raise your hands. Yeah, he's like the Kirtan king, as Srila Prabhupada stated it. So I'll just read it here. So Prabhupada is telling him, you chant, beginning, and he teaches him how to chant. And he tells him, your name is Vishnu Jana, Vishnu Jan. Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. And then, okay, so here, Prabhupada says, should I make it bigger? Yes, no, maybe? I'll just do it. Okay. A little more? Little more. Okay. Thank you for the participation. Good to know you're awake. Okay. The Braminical, don't worry, the samosas are coming, as we've heard this morning. Offered to Krishna first. Okay. So the Braminical qualification is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Satyam, Saucha, Shama, Dhamma, Titiksha, Arjavam, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavacham. Prabhupada says, those who are actually Brahmanas, they must be truthful, always clean inside and outside. Truthful, clean and controlling the senses. Shama, Dhamma, controlling the mind, controlling the senses. Prabhupada again says, controlling the mind. Shama, Dhamma, Titiksha, tolerance. Titiksha, tolerance, Arjavam, simplicity, and Jnanam must be profoundly wise. Vijnanam, practical application in life. Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, full faith in scriptures and in God or Krishna, Astikyam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavacham. These are the natural duties of a Brahmana. So Srila Prabhupada, he breaks this explanation up very amazingly here. So Prabhupada says first that those who are Brahmanas, they must be truthful, always clean inside and outside. So it's a very amazing definition. So many people think that to be a Brahmana means we should be clean. That is true, we should be clean. But cleanliness is not just on the outside, it's also on the inside. And Prabhupada gives a definition of internal cleanliness as what? Prabhupada gives the definition of internal cleanliness as not thinking about sex life. That's a big deal, actually. If you want to be clean on the inside, you don't think about sex life. That is actually the definition of cleanliness as given to us by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Cleanliness on the inside. That is what the definition of cleanliness on the inside means. So how do we become clean on the inside? It's a very important thing to know. We become clean on the inside by thinking of the cleanest person ever. And who is that? Krishna. That's why Prabhupada writes in one purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that Brahmana means one who knows the Param Brahma. Param Brahma is Krishna. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. That Krishna is the supreme person. He is the supreme pure. And by meditating upon Krishna, we attain the qualities of Krishna. So whatever we meditate upon, we attain the qualities of that. We can think about it. So many people, if we walk around, and you can see that if a particular place is, they're meditating a lot upon, let's just say, a basketball player. Then they'll wear the shoes of that basketball player. They'll wear the shorts of that basketball player. They'll watch this, they'll watch that. Why? Because that influence, they're meditating upon such a person. And because they're meditating upon such a person, they actually develop their qualities. That's why do not watch television. It's horrible. And that's why read Srila Prabhupada's books. When you read Prabhupada's books, you meditate upon Krishna. Meditating upon Krishna, you get all desirable qualities and activity, all desirable qualities. Everything. So, that is what Srila Prabhupada gives a definition of cleanliness on the inside. Truthful, clean inside, truthful, clean, and controlling the senses. Dhamma. Prabhupada gives that Dhamma. Controlling the senses. A Brahmana is known to be controlling his senses. Why? Because a person, they're usually slave to their senses. The minute we see a sense object, immediately our eyes, ears, nose, mouth, tongue, all of them, they drag towards it. You know, we can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, different animals have different senses which are the cause of their death. For example, for a moth, it's a sense of sight. When a moth sees fire, what does it do? It thinks, wow, this fire is so nice. Let me enter into the fire and die. It doesn't think, let me enter into the fire and die. Let me just go towards this something so nice, fire. And he goes inside the fire and he dies. You can see this wherever there's. In the night, you see so many moths, they come to a light and they die. Then ears. The example given in the Srimad Bhagavatam for an animal which dies because of the sense of hearing is the deer. You know, the deer, you know, he's very fast at running. You know, he goes very quick here and there, you know. But, you know, the minute the hunter wants to kill him, he plays the flute and then immediately the deer becomes stunned and he kills the deer. And then we can see the elephant is captured by the sense of touch. The she-elephant goes and rubs herself against the he-elephant. And it's amazing that the he-elephant actually finds that attractive. If a she-elephant was to rub against you, I highly doubt it, you would be agitated. But that's the way the modes of material nature work. That a she-elephant is very attractive to a he-elephant. A she-dog is very attractive to a he-dog. I mean, it's called, anyway, whatever. A she-dog is attractive to a he-dog. And a female pig is attracted to a male pig. And similarly, like this, it goes on. Purusha prakriti stohi bhunkte prakriti jangana karnam guna sangasya sadasa dyoni janmasu. People are attracted to different people according to their modes of material nature. So we can see here and we can understand that the she-elephant, she goes and rubs herself against the he-elephant. The he-elephant loses his mind. Think, wow, what a nice she-elephant. And he starts to chase the she-elephant. And she is trained to go around a particular way. And she stands on this side. And she calls the he-elephant over, please come, please come. And the he-elephant comes running and immediately falls in a big hole made by the circus master. And then he becomes a slave. So that's what happens to a she-elephant. That's how a he-elephant, you know, he's a slave to his sense of touch. So then the sense of taste. You know, we all know, I hope you don't go fishing. But, you know, you may have seen people fishing. And what do? They keep a bait on their, it's called a fishing rod, right? Okay. On their fishing rod. And then they think, wow, this is like the best food I've got in the ocean the whole time. And he goes and he holds on to it and then he's pulled out and the fish dies because of the sense of the tongue, right? And then what are we left with? Smell, is it? A sense of smell, right? So then you know, there's some flowers which emanate very amazing odors, actually, very amazing odors. And the bee goes and he flies into this and he's completely intoxicated by that smell and the taste of honey in the flower. And when the bee enters and the flower shuts and the bee dies. So the senses, you know, they can lead one to death. So what to speak of us? What sense causes our death? All five. All five. We got it all. You can make it or break it. Human form of life. Choice is yours. That's why this human form of life is so rare. Labdhvasha durlabham idam bahusam bhavanti manushya martadam anityam apiha dhira turnam yatetana patet anumrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. We've attained this human form of life after many, many births and deaths. So while we have this human form of life, we must do whatever it takes to attain spiritual realization in this life, right here, right now. What do you have to lose? Why do you have to be a slave to your senses? Do it right here, right now. Why? Because your human form of life, your body can die at any point of time. There have been cases where people died very early. You know, don't think, oh, I'm very young. Oh, Bhakti Jacob may be thinking, I'm 20 years old, I'm good. No, don't think like that. You know, death can come at any point of time to anyone. So we should understand, death is there. Death is coming. So while we have this human form of life, we must perfect this. It's no joke. It's the real thing, actually. You have the real thing in your hands. And now we've come close to being initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. So therefore, Dhamma, control your senses. Control your mind. It's worth it. If you want to be a real Brahmana, You control your senses, please. This is what is Prabhupada says, controlling the mind, controlling the senses. And one must be tolerant. A Brahmana must learn to be tolerant. He must be learn to be tolerant of anything. That's why mostly when you first come into the Bhakta program, the first verse that's taught to you is Matra sprashas sukonteya, shitoshna sukadukada. That's right. If you all didn't know, the initiation would have been cancelled. Tam tatiksha svabhayata. Learn to be tolerant. All the things which you experience, in the name of, heat and cold, people say this, people say that. A Brahmana must learn to be tolerant, and, the Brahmana can also learn to be tolerant of his Sankirtan leader. That could be a problem sometimes. The Sankirtan leader may be causing you some problems, but if it's not too much, you can learn to tolerate the Sankirtan leader also. So you should learn, and yes, we can see this. The Prabhupada makes a really amazing statement in one place. I was looking at this, that he defines the Brahmanas as they do 3 foos. In Bengali, foo means to blow. So the Brahmana does 3 foos. So the first one is he stokes the fire and he cooks for the deities. The second one is, what do you think the second one is? What does a Brahmana blow? That's right, he blows the conch shell. So he blows the conch shell and he worships the deity. Yes. You need to start setting up. So should we relocate? Okay, we need to relocate. So.
I mean, you can move, we can also.
Okay. Move here. Move the Vyasasana. Is this okay? Well, I'm showing my back to the deities. I'll do it like this. Okay. Sorry. We're not misogynists, I just can't turn my back to the deities. FYI. So, okay, I'm going to be fighting a war with this mic. Maybe we put it on this side. Okay, all right. So, the second foo that the Brahmana does is he blows on the conch. You blow on the conch, and then, you worship the deity. And the third foo, Prabhupada says a very amazing point Prabhupada makes. Is Prabhupada says that the third one is that a Brahmana, the spiritual master, whispers instruction into the ear of his disciple. So these are the 3 things that a Brahmana does. And one must learn to be very tolerant of all the situations that may be in. Sometimes, we see that we may be in situations which are very hard and very difficult, especially when we're out on book distribution. It may be very cold outside. It may be very cold. It may be very hot. But, we must not get unnecessarily agitated. It is okay to experience difficulty in your service, but one must not become frustrated with the service itself. Yes, difficulties are there. You live in the material world. It's not an easy thing to do, actually. It's a tough thing to do, to serve the spiritual master. To be a Brahmana in Kali Yuga, it's not an easy thing, but we can still do it. It's not impossible. A person must learn to be as tolerant as possible. Srila Prabhupada says this. And simplicity, how do you be tolerant? By being simple. A Brahmana has to be simple. He cannot be, he cannot have so many material desires. Why? Because that's the things, being in the mode of goodness, you have less things. You don't really want to acquire this and acquire that and acquire this and acquire that. That's why Srila Prabhupada makes an amazing statement in the Bhagavatam. What is the wealth of the Brahmanas? What does Prabhupada say? Austerity is the wealth of the Brahmanas. So it's a very amazing thing. So, you be austere, you do all these things. Why? So that way you can actually please Krishna. Krishna likes the Brahmanas so much that Krishna says that when the Brahmanas eat, it's like he's eating. So it's, sometimes, when you get the thread, you put on a little weight, because, God's eating through you, So, it's true. So, hey, practical experience. Okay, so it's true, so, Krishna says that, that's what happens. But anyway, we should not take that as an excuse for indulgence, but it's true. Krishna likes, why? Because Brahmana Bhojana Priya. And then Prabhupada also says, Brahma Jana iti Brahmana. Brahmana is one who knows Brahman. So we must be very careful. We must know these things. This is a very important thing to know. And Prabhupada says, Jnanam, the Brahmana, Jnanam, he must be profoundly wise. The Brahmana must be profoundly wise. Wise means you need to know how to apply the principles of devotional service. You must have knowledge of devotional service. And Vijnanam means you must be practical. You must be practical. So learn to be practical in your Krishna consciousness. Learn to be practical in the application of the principles of Krishna consciousness. And by doing so, you'll be astikyam. You'll be able to have full faith in Krishna and God. Brahma karma, swabhavaja. You'll be able to have all these amazing qualities of having full faith in Krishna. And this is the most important quality. It's the most important thing. And if we have full faith in Krishna, then we'll be able to teach others. What does the Brahmana do? Patan, patan, yajan, yajan. He teaches people. He teaches people how to perform yajna. He teaches people how to perform all these things. So this is very important. It's very important for the Brahmanas to know these things. It's a very important role. And, as in the establishment of Daiva Varnashram Dharma, Srila Prabhupada established this Daiva Varnashram Dharma for a particular reason. He wanted this, the only sane solution for the insane material society that we have. The entire social order is crumbling. The family unit is getting destroyed. All these things are going on. So we must be very mindful. We must be very careful of maintaining the purity. And Brahmanas are supposed to be leaders. And leaders means what? Leaders by example, and leaders by their knowledge, by speaking. So we see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a very important verse. Apane achar karena ki na kare prachar, prachar karena ki na kare achar, achar prachar karena tumi karya, tumi sarva guru, tumi jagatera arya. Sanatana Goswami glorifies Haridas Thakur. He tells him, my dear Haridas Thakur, some people know how to behave very well, but they do not know how to preach very well. Whereas some people know how to preach very well, but they do not know how to behave very well. But my dear Haridas, you are the spiritual master of the whole world. Why? Because you know how to do both these things perfectly in line with the Shastra, perfectly in line with the Siddhanta. So we must be doing this. And a Brahmana, he must be very active in understanding the Siddhanta. That's why Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Siddhanta balya chitte nakaro alas iha haite Krishna lagi suddhi damanas. Don't be lazy in understanding the Siddhanta. It's a very important thing. Now having a Brahmana thread on your shoulder is no joke. You're actually the leader of society. You have to lead by example. Learn the Siddhanta. Don't shy away from presenting the absolute truth. Vedanta Deshika said, that once the king, he had offered him, do you please come and be the minister at my court? You come and be the minister at my court, I will take care of everything. He said, even if hunger strikes me as a volcano in my stomach and I'm thirsty like anything, I will literally drink water from the puddle of water that's in the middle of the road, rather than go and take employment from someone else, be someone else's slave. Brahmanas are supposed to be independent. They're supposed to be independently thoughtful. That doesn't that doesn't mean whatever they say. Wow, okay, Jai, I got a thread. I've been chanting Hare Krishna for 6 months, and now I got a thread, and Hari Bol, I'm a Brahmana. No. Brahmana is supposed to be independently thoughtful. Prabhupada writes in one place in the Bhagavatam that a person who accepts a job is called Shvavritti. Shvavritti. What does this mean? That is the occupation of a dog. Shvavritti. If you have a boss, that means you have the occupation of a dog. A Brahmana cannot have such an occupation. A Brahmana needs to be independently thoughtful. He can never be employed. A Brahmana will never accept employment from anyone. So, taking upon this Braminical initiation means you must be ready. If you want to be a Brahmana, you're taking upon this Braminical initiation, that for the rest of your life, you'll never work a job. Whoa. Should I drop the mic? But you should never work a job for the rest of your life if you're if your spiritual master is avoiding Brahminical initiation upon you. That's why Prabhupada says, Shvavritti. Do not take upon this. It's a very serious and a grave responsibility. You have to lead society now. We can't, we may have been immature in the past. We can't be immature anymore. Now it's time. Now it's time to rise above the three modes of material nature. Why? And Brahminical initiation means you need to be in the mode of goodness. And why is the mode of goodness so much recommended? The Bhagavatam says, Parthiva dharano dhuma sasmat agni srahimaya tamasastu rajas sasmat sattvam yad brahma darshanam. That just like Firewood is there, but better than firewood is smoke, and better than smoke is fire. Similarly, there's a mode of ignorance, but through the mode of goodness, you could actually attain pure goodness. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. You must learn to absorb yourself in the Vasudeva Shabda, in fully transcendental knowledge. You have these 2 years, fill it with transcendental knowledge. Go learn it, teach it to someone else. This is the duty of a Brahmana. You can cook for the deities, you can do deity worship, you can go and preach, you're fortunate, you can do all these 3 things perfectly. So you should be careful. One thing, that we are getting Braminical initiation means we are, the spiritual master recognizes that there is a certain level of sattva gun, the mode of goodness. But with the being in the mode of goodness comes what? Comes the anarthas of being in the mode of goodness. Pride. You can be proud. Oh, I'm a Brahmana. I can intellectually dominate almost everyone. Most people. It's true. You can a Brahmana, like what was the weapon of Vamana Dev, the little Brahmana boy? What was his cunningness? Brahmanas can be very cunning, right? So we should, yes, being in the mode of, then you can intellectually dominate most people. So, and then you can intellectually make someone look like a fool. But we should not criticize someone unless we really have their best interest in our hearts. And if we don't have malice towards that person, then we can criticize and chastise these people. So, but one must be careful. You're getting initiated in the mode into getting second initiation. This is a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing actually. It's no joke. So one must learn how they can rise above this modes of material nature. It's not that now many people think, oh, Brahmana birth means you're born in a Brahmana family. But no. There's 2 kinds of Brahmana. There's Paramarthik Brahmana and Vyavaharika Brahmanas. Vyavaharika Brahmanas are those who are born in the family of Brahmanas. They're just born. One of the best Brahmanas actually, if we look at the Puranas, what's his name? Very famous person. Ravana. He was a great Brahmana. Ravana was a fantastic Brahmana. He was the best at pronunciation. No one could pronounce the Sanskrit shlokas better than him. What a Brahmana. Fantastic. He knew how to say the shlokas right. He knew everything, this and the other thing. But some other Brahmana. What does this mean? That means they're born in the family of Brahmana means they're trainable to be Brahmanas. They're trainable. But it doesn't naturally make them a Brahmana. Prabhupada would give this example that if you're born as a doctor's son, when you grow up, you can't just put a board outside say, I am the son of a doctor, I can do operation on you. Anyone will like to go to such a hospital where the son of a doctor is going to do an operation on your heart? Any volunteers? No, obviously not. So a person must be trained. Yes, the son of a doctor may have more of an upper hand than most people. Okay, great. All right, my dad is going to teach me this and the other thing. He may have the guna and karma, sure. But one must be trained in that. One must be trained. So there may be so many Vyavaharika Brahmanas. But what we really need to do is become Paramarthika Brahmanas. Whenever you're getting second, what does this mean? Rise to the platform of Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Rise to the platform of inquiring into the nature of the absolute truth. It's the most important thing. And one must learn to give up all frivolous activities. Myself, I'm a Brahma Bandhu, friend of the Brahmanas, perform so many frivolous activities. Didn't drive properly 3 years ago. That's why it's affecting our insurance right now. Hopefully 3 years later, Costco is going to be merciful with us, right? But don't do stupid things. Don't do stupid things. Getting Braminical initiation. We should not be too eager to drive fast, do all these things. We should not be eager to do all this now. We should transcend these Trigunaya Vishaya Veda, Nishtraiguna Bhavarjuna. You can at least if you can't transcend, at least try to be situated in the mode of goodness. Yes, a Vaishnava has all the qualities of a Brahmana, sure. But then it doesn't mean that the minute you walk in and you chant Hare Krishna, you've already transcended the Varnashram Dharma. Look inside. Are you affected by the modes of material nature? I sure am. So you must learn to transcend these things. A Vaishnava is not a very cheap thing. Prabhupada would say this often. Being a Vaishnava is not a very cheap thing. It's actually a very serious thing. So while we're there, we can see that we need to be able to apply these principles very properly, very clearly. We need to be able to do so. And when we do so, yes, all amazing things will happen. Prabhupada says the spiritual master gives a sacred thread to a disciple. For what reason? So he can bring him closer. Upanayanam, you're bringing him closer to Krishna, making him qualified to study the Vedas. It is no joke, actually. It's a very, very amazing thing. It's a very important thing, and those who utilize it properly can do great, they can do great service for the entire world. A Brahmana, his example, even when he's behind closed doors, what he does affects the world. A Brahmana must not think, oh, now I'm behind closed doors, I can do whatever thing I like. No, it's not like that. A Brahmana is setting example for everyone. The primary duty of a Brahmana is loka mangalam. The Brahmana cooking for the deities, the Brahmana worshipping the deities, the Brahmana preaching the glories of Krishna. These are all meant for loka mangala. They're meant to perform auspiciousness. So yes, we can go, yes, of course, most amazing thing, you go out, you distribute books. It's the most amazing work to do. Giving people knowledge. This is what a Brahmana does, gives people knowledge. So yes, we must give people knowledge, we must do all these things. Otherwise, we will fall down in this material world. Nowadays, that's why Prabhupada, he didn't award Braminical initiation to anyone and everyone. He didn't award Braminical initiation to anyone and everyone. At least initially, sure, Prabhupada was a little more liberal. But in the end, Prabhupada said, don't give Braminical initiation to everyone. Why? Otherwise, how will we establish Varnashram Dharma? Nowadays, we can say, if someone gets second initiation, but they don't have any time to even chant their rounds. Prabhupada wanted us to have a 6-hour sadhana. 2 hours of japa, Mangalarti, Bhagavatam class, evening program. That's going to take 6 hours, at least 6 hours. So this sadhana must be there. A Brahmana must be very eager to study scriptures. And then if a Brahmana is getting married, then he must make sure that his son is also a Brahmana. Very important. It's no ordinary thing. It's not like, I have a thread and chalo. I'm just going to go gratify my senses and my son can be like whatever, mlecha. No, nothing like that, no. We have to be very careful. We have to train. Yeah, if the Brahmana is getting married, he has to train. And if the Brahmana wants to be a brahmachari, which is not a bad idea, he must learn to study the scriptures properly. He must use his intelligence to distinguish reality from illusion. He must use his intelligence. He must have that steady mind. It's very important. A Brahmana must have that steady mind. He must be calm, composed, cool-headed. And when he's like that, then he can distinguish reality from illusion. He can go through the world in a particular way where he's not affected by it. He can always be fixed in his goal, in his destination, where he wants. Although he may be situated in the material world, he is always looking up in the spiritual sky into the Vaikuntha planets. So we should always keep. That's why we in Atlanta, I guess we say, should keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. The eyes on the prize. Your eyes should be on the prize, which is Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna's lotus feet should be the prize. And this is for everyone, not just a Brahmana, but especially a Brahmana also. We must perform these things. Yes, that we may be going through whatever we may be going through, but if we stay fixed in the teachings, whatever it may be, whatever teachings we may have, then we can inspire the whole world by being a proper Brahmana. We can see Srila Prabhupada, he's of course much more than a Brahmana. He's much more than all these things. But you can see just by his example, he instituted all these things. And one may say, all these things are external. To be a Brahmana is external. To do this is external. To do that is external. But Srila Prabhupada implemented this. Prabhupada wanted Varnashram Dharma to be implemented. Why? Because by doing so, the entire society can actually be safe. They can be safe. They can actually be engaged properly. They do not have to engage in ugra karmic activities. Important thing. Don't engage in ugra karmic activities. You don't aptitudes. Whatever your aptitude may be, can be engaged. And the Brahmanas are the heads of the society. Like, today we were asking Maharaj, so what about Kshatriyas? How are we going to do? What are we going to do about this? He was saying, Prabhupada was very much serious about having Brahmanas. Why? Because the Brahmanas can guide the society in that direction. Where do we go from here to there? How do we get there? We need proper guidance. The Brahmanas are supposed to be the heads of the society. They must always be absorbed in Shastra. Brahmanas must be reading Prabhupada's books more than the newspapers. Brahmanas must not be involved in, all devotees must not watch TV and listen to all this other garbage. They must be absorbed in transcendental sound vibration. It's very, very important. When you're absorbed in transcendental sound vibration, then you can give that same transcendental sound vibration out. Of course, the best way to do it is to distribute the books of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It's the most amazing thing. And we can read and we can repeat whatever we've read in these things, And yes, we can, Krishna says, Kim punar brahmanaf punya bhakta raja shayasata anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvama. What to speak of those who are Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. They can definitely, most certainly, easily make it back home, back to Godhead. Bhakta Rajesh, Anityam Asukam Lokam. They will never have to come back to this material world which is temporary and full of miseries. Anityam Asukam Lokam. Imam Prapya Bhajasvama. Krishna, Bhakti is for everyone. Mam Chayo Vabhicharina, Bhakti Yogina Sevate, Sagunat Samatitya Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. You can completely be absorbed in devotional service and transcend the modes of material nature. That's there. But we must understand our aptitude. Well, yes, what is the primary duty of all living entities? Savai pumsam paro dharmo, yato bhakti radokshije, ahaitukya pratihata, yayatma suprasidati. That we must have unmotivated and uninterrupted loving devotional service to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We must have this, yes. And that is our primary duty. That's our primary duty. But then, this whole Varnashram system is what about your secondary duty? How will you be able to perform your secondary duty in such a way that you can perform devotional service? What is your secondary duty? Whatever it may be, that's according to your guna and karma. No matter who you are, kiba vipra kiba nyasi shudra ke nenai, Shri Krishna tattva veda se guru hoy. That you could be a brahmana, you could be a sannyasi, you could be a shudra, whatever you could be, know the truth about Krishna. That's there. And that's how people, you have to eat, you have to do something to live. Therefore, this whole situation is there. And for the Brahmana, it's the most austere. It's the most austere. Why? Because even a small mistake, for example, if a Chandala or a Shudra drinks wine, if a Chandala drinks wine, then they'll say, okay, what? Take 5 cows, I'll give you this much money and you're fine. But if a Brahmana drinks wine, he's ostracized from society forever. It's a heavy thing, heavy responsibility. Braminical life is not just about privilege, it's about responsibility. What you say is going to affect others. We can see. And Brahmanas are also, they may be very hard on the outside, being very heavy and chastising you and, no, wrong, be freaking mlecha. Like, what Prabhupada say? Prabhupada say, you are brought up mlechas. Prabhupada said that, you're brought up mlechas. What does that mean? Like, you are brought up to be a mlecha. Like, right from birth, you're taught to, like, lick your hand and put it on your face or whatever. Whatever, so many things, you're brought up to, like, not take a bath after passing stool. Brought up mlechas, Yes, he may be very, like, exterior, brought up mlechas, but they're very soft on the inside. Very soft, very compassionate. A Brahmana is very compassionate. He's very merciful. He gives the opportunity for all living entities to make spiritual advancement somehow or the other. And and Brahmana means worshipper of Vishnu. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, he calls all the other so-called Brahmanas who worship demigods Alpa Medasaha. They don't have a brain. They're stupid actually. Why? Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He must be worshipped, not anyone else. So we understand these points. It's a very serious thing. It's no joke. It's a real thing. So please take to this Krishna consciousness seriously, and from honest experience, chanting the mantras whispered into the ear by the spiritual master will definitely help you on book distribution. It's true. And I've seen it's up my game. Provided you follow the instructions the spiritual master gives you, you can definitely expand your intelligence by chanting. You can expand your intelligence by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra also. But these also are meant to help you. It is also meant to help you. What's this verse in the Brahma Samhita? Uvacha purutas tasmai tasya divya saraswati kama krishnaya govinda he ko bichane ityapi vallabhaya priya varner mantram te dasyatri priyam tapas swam tapa etena tava siddhir bhavishyati. That simply by chanting the Uvacha purutas tasmai tasya divya saraswati gave these mantras to Lord Brahma. Tasya divya saraswati kama krishnaya govinda he gopi jana ityapi vallabhaya priya varner mantram te dasyati priyam. This is a very, very dear mantra given. Tapasam tapa etina tava siddhir bhavishyati. And simply by practicing this mantra, by doing this, you will attain perfection. So what happened to Lord Brahma? Traya prabuddhota vidir vigyata tattvasagara. Tatya sarvaya lokaya. I'm forgetting the third line, but Traya prabuddhota vidir vigyata tattvasagara. That when he got this knowledge, when he got this knowledge, he was able to see Vijnata Tattva Sagara. He had an ocean of realization. So he's able to do this, and then he chants Chantamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha. And then he gets realization of this. So it's a very important tool. You can use it. You're very fortunate. You're getting this opportunity. So learn to rise above the three modes of material nature. Learn to be fixed in the mode of goodness. This is no joke. And now you're a leader of society. It's a big deal now. No more fooling around. So we must take this very seriously. Very seriously. And never work a job. It's very important to know. Don't become a dog. Don't be a slave to someone. Don't have a boss. But yeah, you can be slave of your guru. Brahmachari guru kule vasandanta gurur hitam. Asharan dashate nicho guru sukhrita sokhridaha. You know that the brahmachari, he dedicates his life to serving the spiritual master. His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki jai. He dedicates his life to serving the spiritual master and being a menial servant in this regard. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namo.